How do I grow in my faith in Jesus Christ and be faithful to the mission that He's called me to? We're going to discuss that in this video. This video is a part of a larger series of videos called Virtual Coach. If you go to our YouTube channel, Bethel Pittsburgh, go under playlist, you'll find a playlist titled Virtual Coach. For the most part, what we're doing in that video series is walking through practical guidance on how to implement the practices of our faith. So it's not as much of a Bible study, though we do get into some verses we will in this video. The Bible study side of discipleship is in our playlist called The Disciple, so I encourage you to check that series out as well. But in this video, we want to ask ourselves, how do I grow in my faith? And a big part of growing our faith is surrendering to the mission. This is where a lot of people plateau in their faith, is they get the Bible reading down and they get the prayer down and they get into Christian fellowship, they're attending church, but their faith is the same as it was 10 years ago because they're not actually putting anything out in the form of mission. And the way we're going to achieve that is partially through the kind of commitment level we have to our particular local church. A lot of times people will see church, it's the way our culture is now. They will see a church like a business. Some of it is just because there are business aspects of the way a church functions, but they'll see it as a business. And so do I get my internet service through Verizon or Comcast? My wholesale bulk store am I a member of Sam's Club or am I a member of Costco? Do I go to Walmart or do I go to Target or do I go to both? And if I'm not satisfied with what's happening at one store, I'll go to another. And maybe I rotate through. Maybe I'll go to Costco sometimes for this and Sam's for that. And the behavior is centered around what pleases me, what makes me happy, and I'll make decisions based on that. And people come to churches and they'll approach churches the same way. They'll go to one church for a while and then something about it doesn't make them happy. They're not comfortable with some aspect of it and they're like, I'm not feeling this anymore, so I'll go to another one. The pastor leaves or the worship leader changes or something along those lines, or some program ends and I don't like this the way this is now, I'll go somewhere else. Or I like the preaching here, I like the worship here, I like the fellowship here, and so what I'll do is 1 week I'll go to this church, 1 week I'll go to that church, and then the next week I'll go to that church, and then I'm attending each of those maybe once a month. And again, my focus is on me. And there is a need to focus on ourselves and our own development and things in our own recovery from flesh and stuff. There is a need for that. But if I stay there, I will only reach a certain point in my faith. I have to get to a place where it's no longer about me, and it's about bringing glory to the Lord, and it's about helping other people out. And that's where I land on being committed to a particular local church. And we see that kind of commitment expressed. It's more alluded to, and that's kind of why I think people will read the Bible and not pick up on it, the allusion to this commitment to one local church. It's not that there's never a time to transition from one church to another, but certainly it doesn't work to just be rotating through different churches. And so here's statements that we'll consider. Paul says in Colossians 3, verse 14 and 15, "Above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony." And so if I pick up the characteristic of love, which I know I'm supposed to do, Jesus even says it's the second greatest commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. So if I pick up that quality of love, what will happen is things will get bound together in perfect harmony. What is it that will be bound together? Well, he continues, "And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in one body." So I was called to be a part of one church. Now, yes, the church universal is the makeup of all the Christians around the world. But I can't meet with all the Christians around the world, and so I have to select a group that's meeting that I'm going to choose to be a part of, and then if I'm acting in love, I am called to be a part of that church, and I am behaving in a way that will bind that church together, me with that church. So there's this sticking that happens between me and a particular church. Ephesians 4:13, Paul describes the flow of the growth of the church and the individual. And he says that the goal of that is until we all attain to the unity of the faith, that we are united, that we are together and working together and committed to one another. In Ephesians 4:16, he continues, the whole body joined and held together. Okay, so there's this commitment to one another, joined and held together. We're actually present with each other, joined and held together by every joint. And the joint is an analogy of each individual. So each individual is a part of this, holding it together, with which it is equipped. When each part, again, another analogy of the individual, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow so that it builds itself up in love. And so if I'm truly acting in love and if I'm truly growing in my faith, then my behavior is going to be, I'm a part of this church, and I'm sticking around, and I'm going to come regularly, and I'm going to encourage other people to be committed to this church, and I'm going to work to help keep that harmony, that unity, and I'm going to work to help make this specific local church grow. And so even if there's something lacking in the preaching or teaching, there's some program that is lacking, or a demographic as far as people is concerned, there's not as many young people as me or older people as me or whatever, married, single, there's some lacking in the demographics, some lacking in the programming, there's something about the worship that's not satisfying my cravings. I don't leave for those reasons, because it's the insecurity within the relationships and the commitment to one another that creates this shallowing of the Christian experience, where we can't trust to be vulnerable and connected to each other because we're constantly changing who's here, and the people who are here have a shallow commitment to being here, and we can't grow because we can't grow as individuals, and we can't grow as a church because we're not committed to this local church. And so I encourage you, if you're part of Bethel, I plead with you, commit to staying, even though there's imperfections. Commit to staying, commit to attending regularly, commit to getting involved, commit to supporting that church. And if you're not a part of Bethel and you're a part of some other church, I encourage you to do the same for that church. The church, the people in the church, the leadership in the church needs it, and you need it in order for you as an individual to grow and everybody else around you to grow. It's that lack of commitment that is really, really a big factor in the decline of the Christian faith in our country, as well as other parts of the world. So consider, do I really want to grow in my faith? How committed are you to the local church that you're a part of? If you have any questions on that, leave that in the comments below. I'd be glad to answer them. Or if you would like to grow in your faith in person and you live in the Pittsburgh area, then I encourage you to join us sometime. We meet Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. We're Bethel Assembly of God at 2501 Staten Street. Or if you can't join us in person and you'd like to join us through live streaming, we stream our Sunday morning 10 a.m. service live on our YouTube channel, Bethel Pittsburgh. We'd love for you to join us there, but may God bless you.